if everything you've been taught about manifestation is pointed in the wrong direction, not wrong in a small way, wrong at the foundation. I'm not here to tell you manifestation doesn't work. I'm here to tell you that most people, including me, for years have been sending their faith to the wrong address. They told you to trust the universe, to align with the universe, to ask the universe, but nobody stopped to ask one simple question: who made the universe? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share changed my entire life, financially, mentally, spiritually, and I think it's going to change yours too. Before I get into everything, let me introduce myself, because if this is your first time here, you deserve to know who's talking to you. My name is Dian Pratama, you can call me Dian. 3 years ago, I was the person who had done everything right on paper. I had the vision board, I said my affirmations every morning, I journaled my gratitude, I meditated, I listened to every podcast about the law of attraction, and I was still working 12-hour days, constantly worried about bills, secretly terrified that no matter how hard I tried, I will never actually make it. Not because I wasn't trying, but because I was exhausted, and something deep inside me felt hollow. Like I was putting my faith into something that couldn't actually hold it. I remember sitting alone one night, staring at my vision board and thinking who exactly I am talking to when I ask the universe. That question cracked something open in me, and what happened next I didn't expect. Within weeks of making one fundamental shift in where I placed my trust, unexpected opportunities started showing up. Not because I worked harder, not because I found a better strategy, but because I finally stopped directing my faith at the created thing and started directing it at the Creator. Within months, my confidence changed. The way I made decisions changed. The way I saw money changed. And in just 4 months, I generated over $250,000. Not from hustle, not from grinding harder, but from alignment, real alignment, the kind that's grounded in something that doesn't move. This channel, not the universe, is where I share everything I learned and everything I'm still learning. So if you're someone who has tried manifestation, tried the law of attraction, tried aligning with the universe, and something still falls off, you're in the right place. Now let's get into it. Let me start with something that might feel uncomfortable. The manifestation world, the mainstream version, has a language problem. And that language problem has a very real consequence. The most common phrase you'll hear is this: ask the universe, or trust the universe, or the universe has a plan for you. Now, I'm not here to attack anyone who used this language. I used it too, for years. But I want to ask you something honestly. When you say the universe, what do you actually mean? you mean the planets, the stars, the law of physics, the empty space between galaxies? Because here is what's fascinating for me. The universe is a created thing. It had a beginning. Scientists agree on this. Theologians agree on this. It came into existence at a specific point in time, which means logically something existed before it, something caused it, and that something, that someone, is not the universe itself. So, when we place our faith in the universe, we are placing our faith in the creation and skipping over the creator entirely. Now, think about what that does to your manifestation practice. You're essentially going to a river and asking the river for water, while ignoring the spring that feeds the river in the first place. The river can run dry, the spring cannot. This is not just spiritual or religious idea, this is logic. If you want to tap into the deepest source of provision, of abundance, of direction in your life, you have to go to the source, not to something the source made. And this one shift is what changed everything for me. Not a new strategy, not a new morning routine, not a new affirmation script. Just who am I actually directing my faith toward? Let me show you why this matters so much, especially when it comes to money and abundance. Now, I want to talk about something that bridges the spiritual and the practical, because I know some of you are analytical thinkers, and I respect that. Let's talk about the subconscious mind. Research in neuroscience and psychology consistently shows us something remarkable. 95% of your daily behavior, your decisions, your reactions, your habits, your beliefs about what's possible for you is driven not by your conscious mind, but your subconscious programming. That means only 5% of what you do is truly conscious choice. The other 90% running on automatic, running on whatever was programmed into you by your upbringing, your experiences, your environment, your repeated thoughts. This is why people can know intellectually that they deserve abundance and still self-sabotage. This is why you can write affirmations for months and see nothing change. Because the affirmation is hitting the 5% and the 95% underneath is running a completely different program. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Most manifestation methods try to reprogram the subconscious through repetition alone. Affirmation, visualization, acting as if, and these things have value. I am not dismissing them, but here's what they often miss. What is the foundation you're reprogramming toward? If the foundation is the universe will provide, then your subconscious is anchoring to something abstract, something that has no face, no relationship, no covenant with you personally. But if the foundation is God, a personal, intelligent, relational source of provision, then your subconscious is anchoring to something infinitely more stable. Think of it like this. Imagine you're building a house. You can use the best materials in the world, but if the ground underneath is unstable, the house will eventually crack. The ground matters more than the materials. God-centered alignment is the ground. Everything else, the audios, the mindset work, the identity shifts, the practical strategies, Those are materials. Get the ground right first, and everything built on top of it becomes exponentially more powerful. This is what I spent years figuring out through trial, error, and honestly, a lot of pain. When I finally got the ground right, the result came faster than I ever expected. I want to go a little deeper into my story here, because I think some of you are going to see yourself in it. 3 years ago, I was in a place I don't like to talk about publicly very often. I was working 12-hour days, not because I love the hustle, but because I was terrified of what would happen if I stopped. I had bills, I had responsibilities, and underneath all the productivity and the vision board and the positive affirmation, I had a deep, quiet fear that I was fundamentally not enough. That no matter what I did, the big life I wanted was for other people, not for me. I had tried so many things: law of attraction, manifestation journals, asking the universe, subliminal audio, visualization, and I had some small wins. Don't get me wrong, things would improve a little, but then they'd slip back, and I'd be back at zero, wondering what I was doing wrong. The frustrating part, I was doing everything I was told to do, and then one night, I remember it clearly, I was completely alone, completely exhausted, and I just stopped. I stopped trying to manifest. I stopped trying to align with the universe. I stopped trying to think positive. And in that silence, I asked a completely different question. Universe, what do I need to do? But God, are you there? And if you are, is this really what you made me for? I know that sounds simple, maybe even too simple, but something shifted in that moment. Not lightning and thunder, just a quietness and a clarity I hadn't felt in years. Over the next few days, I started approaching everything differently. Instead of aligning with the universe, I started praying specifically, intentionally, like I was in a real conversation with a real being who actually knew me. And the subconscious work I had been doing, the audios, the identity work, the mindset reprogramming, it all started landing differently, because I had a foundation now. Within weeks, opportunities showed up that I hadn't chased. Within months, a client found me. I didn't chase them. And in 4 months, I had generated $250,000. I'm sharing that number not to impress you, but to show you that this is not just philosophy. This produced real, measurable result in the real world. And I believe that the ground shift was the reason. So let me give you a sample framework, something that you can actually start with today. I call it the 3-layer alignment. Layer 1, source alignment. This is the foundation. Before any technique, any audio, any strategy, you establish who your source is. Not the universe, not the abundance energy, not high vibrational frequency, but God, personal, relational, present. Practically, this looks like starting your day not with affirmations, but with acknowledgement. A prayer, a moment, conversation. You are my source today. I trust you with what I cannot control. This is not passive. This is the most powerful active choice you can make. Layer 2, Identity Reprogramming. Once the ground is established, now you do the inner work. This is where the subconscious reprogramming comes in. Guided audio, repetition, rewiring deep money beliefs, releasing fear and scarcity programming. But now it's grounded. It has a foundation. It's not floating in abstract universe energy. It's anchored to a source that is personal and consistent. Layer 3, Aligned Action. This is where most manifestation teachers stop. They say just believe and receive, but real results come from aligned action, not forced hustle, not grinding out of fear, but intuitive, clear, purposeful movement. The kind that comes naturally when your mind is reprogrammed and your source is right. You'll know the difference. Forced action feels heavy and anxious. Aligned action feels like a pull, like you're moving with something, not against it. When all three layers work together, source, identity, action, results stop feeling like luck. They start feeling like a natural outcome. This is the system I used. Over the coming weeks, we are going to talk about why the law of attraction is incomplete and what fills the gap. We're going to talk about the science of subconscious reprogramming and how to do it in a way that actually sticks. Before I go, I want to leave you with one thought. You've probably spent time, maybe years, learning how to manifest, learning how to attract, learning how to align. And maybe it's worked sometimes, and maybe sometimes it hasn't. I'm not here to tell you that everything you've learned is wrong. I'm here to ask you one question. What if the source you've been directing all of that toward just isn't the right one? What if there's something higher, something personal, something that actually knows your name? That's the question that changed my life, and that's the question this entire channel is built around. My name is Dian Pratama, and this is not the universe. I'll see you in the next video.